All right, let's dive in. We're going to talk about one of the absolute cornerstones of machine learning, logistic regression. Now, I know what you're thinking. Regression is in the name, so it must be about predicting numbers, right? Well, that's the funny thing. Its real job is making choices. Let's break it down.
So, at its very heart, logistic regression is all about answering those simple binary questions. The yes or no, this or that kind of stuff. Will this thing happen or not? Is it option A or is it option B? Our world is just packed with these kinds of problems. And, well, this algorithm is how we get machines to make that call.
I mean, just think about your email inbox for a second. Every single day, for every single message that comes in, there's this silent little decision happening in the background. Is this real or is this junk? That is a classic classification problem. And honestly, it's the perfect place to kick things off. And it goes so much further than just sorting your email. We're talking about businesses using it to figure out, hey, is this customer about to leave us? Or banks using it to flag a potentially fraudulent transaction, like right as it's happening. And in healthcare, it can help doctors figure out if a tumor is malignant or not. I mean, these are not small questions, right? They have huge real-world consequences. Okay, so the big question is, how do we actually build a model that can do all this? Now, your first instinct might be to reach for a tool you already know, something like linear regression. But that's actually not the right tool for this job. Let's dig into why. See, linear regression, it's all about fitting a straight line to predict any kind of continuous value. The output could be 150, it could be -10, whatever. But that's totally useless to us, right? We just need a yes or a no. Logistic regression, though, now that's the right tool. It's built from the ground up to do one thing really well: predict a probability. A nice, clean number between 0 and 1. And that is exactly what we need. Okay, so if we want to get formal for a second, logistic regression is a supervised classification algorithm. But honestly, the real key word you need to lock in your brain is probability, because it doesn't just spit out a hard yes or no. It tells you how confident it is in that prediction. That's the secret sauce. So, how does it actually do that? Well, the magic is all thanks to something called the sigmoid function. You can really think of it as the engine of the whole algorithm. It's this beautiful little mechanism that can take any raw number you throw at it and just cleanly transform it into a probability. Okay, now you're looking at the formula behind it. Don't worry, don't panic. You really don't need to memorize the math here. The only thing that really matters is understanding what it does, what it accomplishes. And that is, it can take literally any number, big, small, positive, negative, you name it, and just perfectly squish it into that 0 to 1 probability range we need. Let's make this super simple. It's really just a 3-step process. Step 1, the model looks at all the data and calculates a raw score. Step 2, the sigmoid function does its thing. It squishes that score. And step 3, out pops a perfect probability. If the raw score is a huge positive number, it gets squished way up close to 1. If it's a huge negative number, it gets squished way down, close to 0. Simple as that. All right, so we've got a probability. That's awesome. But we still need an actual answer, right? A final yes or no. So how does the model go from a probability, say 0.8, to a final decision? Well, it all comes down to what we call the decision boundary. Out of the box, the tipping point is usually set right at 0.5. It's pretty straightforward. If the probability it calculates is 0.5 or higher, the model says, okay, that's class 1, fraud. If it's less than 0.5, it predicts class 0, not fraud. It's just a simple threshold. But what's really cool is that you can actually change this threshold. Depending on the problem, you might care more about avoiding one type of error over another, so you can just slide that tipping point up or down. So all of these individual decisions together create what we call a decision boundary. And for logistic regression, this is the key part. It's always a straight line. Think of it as the model's literal line in the sand. On one side of the line, it predicts yes. On the other side, it predicts no. And this is exactly why it works so well for problems where the two groups of data can actually be split apart by a single straight line. But, life isn't always a simple yes or no, is it? So what happens when you have more than 2 options? What if you have 3 or 4 or heck, even dozens of possible categories to choose from? I'm talking about things like trying to classify an image of an animal. Is it a cat, a dog, a bird? Or trying to sort products on a website into different categories, or even something like identifying different species of flowers. These are what we call multi-class problems, and guess what? Logistic regression has a pretty clever way to handle these too.
The solution is a clever extension called softmax regression. You can just think of it as the multi-class version of logistic regression. It's built to handle any number of categories, as long as they're mutually exclusive, meaning an item can only belong to one category. So instead of giving you just one probability, it gives you a probability for every single class, and they all conveniently add up to 1.
Okay, so we've built a model. That's great. But how do we know if it's actually any good? And maybe more importantly, how can we make it better? Well, this means we have to measure its performance and, crucially, make sure it doesn't learn the wrong lessons from our data. Two of the big metrics here are precision and recall. And the absolute best way to think about them is just by asking two simple questions. Precision asks, of all the times we yelled spam, how often were we actually right? And recall asks a different question. Of all the spam emails that were actually out there, how many did we manage to catch? And there's almost always a trade-off between these two. Which one you care about more really just depends on the problem you're trying to solve. Another really critical technique is called regularization. The best way to think about this is that it stops the model from overfitting. That's a fancy word for what a student does when they just memorize the textbook for a test instead of actually learning the concepts. A model that just memorizes the data it's seen is totally useless when it sees brand new data. So regularization basically penalizes the model for being too complex. It forces it to stay simple and general, which makes it way more effective out in the real world. Okay, so with all of that in our back pocket, when should you actually use this thing? I mean, like any tool, it has its pros and its cons. On the plus side, it's all about speed and simplicity. Logistic regression is incredibly fast to train. But its real superpower, honestly, is that it's highly interpretable. You can actually peek inside the model and understand why it's making the predictions it's making. That's huge. Now, the main drawback? It's that linear boundary we talked about. It really struggles with complex patterns where a simple straight line just can't get the job done. But here's the thing. Despite being simple, this algorithm is an absolute workhorse out in the real world. I mean, it's everywhere. Banking and finance use it for credit scoring and fraud detection. Healthcare uses it for disease diagnosis. Marketing teams use it to predict which customers are about to churn. Its speed and reliability make it a go-to tool for so many industries. And this really gets to where its true value shines. You're not just getting a prediction, you're getting an explanation. You can literally see that, oh, okay, longer customer tenure leads to less churn. Or, wow, more support calls actually leads to more churn. These aren't just numbers spit out by a machine. They are actionable insights for a business, and that is incredibly powerful.
All right, let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. Number 1, remember it's for classification, not regression, despite the name. 2, its engine is that sigmoid function, the thing that turns raw scores into probabilities. 3, it creates a simple, straight-line boundary to split the classes. And finally, number 4, its greatest strengths are speed, simplicity, and most importantly, the fact that you can actually understand what it's doing. And that leaves us with one final thought to chew on. You know, in today's world of super complex black box AI models, the kind that even the people who built them can't fully explain, isn't there more value than ever in an algorithm that's not only effective, but is also simple enough for us to actually trust and explain its decisions? Just something to think about.